Welcome to the Backyard Professor Responds videos. I'm going to analyze a few of the shorts that are being put out on YouTube by Christians concerning the UFOs, UAPs, and how these intersect with the doctrines of Christianity, with the history, with the spirituality and the theology. And this is not a critique of Christianity in any manner or against any one of these individuals that I'm going to comment on, in the spirit of just having a discussion and looking forward to the future of being able to help us prepare ourselves better for when it finally dawns on us, either individually or collectively as a society and humanity, that these things really are real. And there are still many skeptics. I'm not here to say the skeptics are wrong either, that none of this is real. The fact is, we just don't know, right? In my approach to this UAP phenomenon, real or fake, or just our vivid imagination, which in a way does not threaten the reality, but it enhances it. And I'm thinking of a video that I just watched the other day of Richard Dolan discussing consciousness. And that's one that I want to do a commentary on, just not right at the moment. To me, it appears that there is perhaps an overconfidence on some Christians' part about the nature of the UAPs, the aliens. I know we're trying to get away from using that word because it has so many bad connotations. And just to have a discussion, just to forward the discussion. Now, one thing I'm not doing, I am not trying to persuade you away from your belief in the Bible. I have no interest in doing that. There are so many different variegated interpretations of that text anyway. I'm certainly not trying to sway you away from your belief in Jesus. Not at all. If you want to believe in Jesus Christ, and you do, wonderful. If that's what brings you joy, health, and goodness in life, I am thrilled for you, sincerely. So I'm not persuading you to do anything, except just realize that from some points of view, and I will share mine tonight, the issue is not quite so settled. It doesn't appear to me, simply because, of course, we just don't know enough. Let me share what I mean. Let me share what I mean with this first one, and let me make sure I've got the right one here. Okay, here we go. Yes, this is the one that I want to share with you. And this is important for a number of reasons. I think this is worth noting. Here we go.
Lately, I just want to make it very clear that if I and I don't know a couple other million Christians disappear randomly in the blink of an eye, yeah, we're not hanging out in some UFO. We're chilling with Jesus. So, we're happy where we're at. Don't come look for us. But if you want to get in on this, then make sure to follow or subscribe to learn more, and go click the link that I pinned in the.
How speedily she says, don't come looking for us. We're chilling for Jesus. We're not interested. As if you'll be able to separate yourself from the concept. And if it becomes a physical reality, and they really do end up being for real, and they show up and they begin mingling with humanity that we all come to recognize and know, you aren't the one that gets to decide you're going to separate yourself from UFOs and aliens. They will decide that. And why do I say something so shocking? Now, I get it. That can be uncomfortable. That's uncomfortable to me. And on thinking through it, I am not convinced at all that I want to associate with them either. I entirely sympathize with this lady's theme, but that's not our call. And the reason I say that is because we have thousands of cases of, say, alien abductions. We have lots of cases where the aliens can come and go at will. They can appear to whomever they apparently choose to appear to. Chris Bledsoe is one such person. And it's not up to us to say, stay away, we're chilling with Jesus, don't come. I'm not so sure that they care what we think or want. I think they're carrying out their agenda, be whatever that agenda is. And again, we don't know. And this gives rise to different interpretations. And I'm going to share a couple of them tonight with you with these shorts. So this is a very interesting concept, I think, that we have to recognize that this may not be our call. This may be theirs. We don't know. So that's one such idea. Let me share another one that I thought was quite interesting too, as well. This one right here, I do believe. Yes. Let me make sure it's on. It is not this one, but the one right before it. Or after.
UFOs are real and aliens are real, but they're not from outer space. And that's according to the top 2 UFO researchers after decades-long research. So go to Sabrel.com and
so where do they think they're from? They're not from outer space.
They're interdimensional and potentially fallen angels disguising themselves because they're liars. Of something, like you said, can't be proven or disproven. I'm from this galaxy 300 light years away.
This is kind of what Tucker Carlson thinks. He thinks there's a spiritual element to it. He thinks they've always been here, and he thinks that this is what's kind of documented in the Bible as like good and evil. And
that's it, exactly. I mean, that's what's going on. I mean, the top 2 UFO researchers said UFOs are real, number 1. Number 2, they're not from outer space. And number 3, they're demonic. And that's what I talk about. Where it talks about fallen angels interbreeding with humans, is talked about in Genesis 6, and creating a race called Nephilim, who were men of renown, world leaders.
Hit that follow or subscribe for more.
UFOs are real and aliens.
All right. So now this is an interesting interpretation. And I've seen this bandied about before, and I've watched a couple of full-length videos on this. It does appear to me to tie in very well with this Nephilim. And then, of course, there's been a lot of videos on the tie-in with the Anunnaki and Zecharia Sitchin's materials, which academia have questioned his ability to translate the ancient cuneiform and Babylonian, etc. I'm not going to worry about getting into that right now. But this theme that they are demons and that they, they're liars, etc. Well, we aren't in communication with them. And when I say that, I mean as a society, right? So we don't know if they're liars. We have no idea. They could be the angels in disguise. Now he chooses the demonic side. In my opinion, that is what is evincing the nervousness of some Christians or biblical believers with this idea of stigmatizing the unknown. I get it, because we as humans, we crave certainty. All of us do. And this is the great attraction to mathematics, science, etc. It's supposed to give us certainty. Well, this is the appeal to the religious testimony, because it too promises certainty of knowledge of certain items in theological or cosmological terms with relation to Jesus, angels, the book, etc. And the reason we crave certainty, which is amazing, is because everything is uncertain. And so the dogma appears to override our rationality. Again, I'm not critiquing, I'm not criticizing or mocking their belief in this. I'm simply saying this is an interpretation, just exactly like this interdimensionality is an interpretation. And it's one that we can talk about without I mean, we live in a great age because now we can openly discuss this and we can compare this interpretation of the interdimensionality with the interpretation that it's not an interdimensionality. They simply live on this planet under the oceans. That too is an interpretation. There is yet again another interpretation that they are from the far reaches of the cosmos, and they have learned through a higher ability to understand the laws of physics. They have learned how to fold space. So that 10 light years in distance, which is an impossible distance for a human to travel because it is so vast. A light year is the distance light travels in 1 year, which none of us at our conventional speeds that we have right now and the fastest jet could cover. But if we knew how to fold space, if we understood a higher aspect, we could fold space, and the 10 light years would be 10 inches so that they appear to travel instantly, right? We just don't know. Now, that kind of power, if you see someone boop, pop in front of you in existence, wow. I mean, even if you do Joseph Smith's thing and offer to shake your hand so that you can detect the devil from an angel. He said that in one of his books of scripture, The Doctrine and the Covenants. Even if you offer your hand and shake his hand, and if you feel the hand, well, then there's a man of God. Or if you don't feel it, then that's a spirit to deceive you. Even if you do that and then it disappears, you're not going to, you won't be able to help but feel very nervous, because from our point of view, that is demonic. We have a habit of labeling the unknown with the demonic, but what's to stop us from labeling it as godly, you see? And you can cherry pick the Bible, such as these gentlemen have done, and select just the demonic, the fallen angels, etc. aspect, toggle them all together, and come up with a picture that is entirely coherent with the little pieces of the whole that you have chosen to stitch together. But does that make it the reality in the cosmos? You know, I'm going to have to demur and say I doubt it. Not to mock or dissuade anyone. So anyway, this yet again appears to me to covering my overarching theme here that I'm trying to get to is the overconfidence of Christians, because, and I'm going to include myself in this, we all are so rightly nervous in the face of this astonishingly unknown, apparently superior civilization, if we can call it that. Let's say superior experience instead. Theme that's happening here. Our most magnificent technology can't possibly keep up with them, for instance. Fravors, radar videos demonstrate that. The Tic Tacs simply ran circles around them. They even went to their cap point, which no one else knew except the pilots and the radar man on the ship. But that Tic Tac did. It went right to that point and waited for him in under a minute, and it was 60 miles away. So things like this can't help but make us nervous. So I get it, and we need an anchor point, grounded in reality, right? And so that makes sense that we want to anchor ourselves in a a sacred text. Christians do it with the Bible. Mormons, much less so. They would rather go to the Book of Mormon. The Muslims go to the Quran, and so this is really interesting. I said Muslims to the Quran. Sorry, I misspoke. That's not where they go. Anyway, let's take another one. Because this also has an interesting kind of a similar and yet a different theme. Okay.
Did you know there are aliens in the Bible? Now I'm referring to what the world calls aliens, but aliens are not what TV and movies in the world will tell you they are. Now allow me to read this to you from the Torah. So the Torah is the first 5 books of the Bible. So I'll be reading from the first book of the Torah and the first book of the Bible, Genesis, chapter 6, verse 1. When man began to multiply on the face of the land and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were attractive, and they took as their wives any they chose. Now, these are the same Hebrew words for sons of God that are also found in Job 1:6, where the sons of God and Satan present themselves before God. Also, in your own time, check out 2 Peter chapter 2, verses 4-5, and Jude, verses 5-6. These rebellious sons of God are fallen angels. They are not extraterrestrial, they are interdimensional and demonic. Our culture's obsession with aliens is straight up paganism, and there very well may be a deception coming with great signs and wonders that will fool, if possible, even the elect. Did you know there are aliens?
So again, this theme of cherry picking and selecting, he added a few more texts and all. But notice the instant labeling. They are not aliens. They are demonic. They are interdimensional. That is one possible interpretation. But why is the interdimensional associated with demonic? Why isn't it associated with godly? Because quite frankly, the aliens haven't visited this young man and talked to him and convinced him they're demonic, etc. He's just simply labeling them that in order to feel safer, because he, along with all the rest of us, just don't know what's going to come of all this, and that is nerve-wracking. That makes sense, right? And you know what's interesting is that is not the short that I wanted to get to. Classifieds get revealed. Did you know aliens in the Bible? Did you know there are? Let me stop the screen here and try another one. But that was a fun one. Pretty much in line with the former one, isn't it? But again, this labeling, this automatic jump to the unknown means demonic, that could be a serious problem. And I don't mean because it's true, but because it's entirely false. We may be misunderstanding the unknown here. We just don't know, right? So that's interesting. And this one, yeah, this one's fun. Let me make sure it's showing. Oh, it's not. Okay. Did you know? Okay, here we go. There's that gentleman again. There, this guy. How come he's not getting on there? Oh, I see why. Sorry, I got the wrong one again. Let me try this one more time, and I will do this one. Maybe that was the one I meant to do. Hold on. Here we go. Are aliens really demons? That's the one I want. Okay. Yeah, these gentlemen are very interesting because they also have a really interesting interpretation of the aliens as demons and the misunderstanding of the cult. Once this goes through, I will check this one Here we go. Okay, now, are aliens really demons? Okay, now I can share it. Share the screen, share the screen. Apologize about that. Okay, are aliens really demons? Yeah, this is the one. This is it. Okay, so let's listen to these gentlemen. Kind of interesting how their take on this goes. Yep, that's the one. Okay.
Connection between occult activity and UFO sightings have you seen?
We're dealing with something beyond the space-time dimensions of the universe. We tell people, if you're having these UFO encounters, here's a list of occult activities that invite the demons, the fallen angels, to invade your life. If you get rid of all that, there'll be no more UFO encounters. But if you begin to practice these things, don't be surprised if you have these encounters. That UFO encounters vary across the globe, much higher in France and equatorial Brazil than it is in the United States. Why? Because there's many more people in France and equatorial Brazil that are involved in the occult. There's a direct correlation between the percentage of the population involved in the occult and the percentage of the population that's having these UFO encounters. I'm telling people, if you don't believe our explanation, put it to the test.
What connection?
And so this is an interesting interpretation. Now, from my particular studies in history, I majored in history. I have a bachelor's in history. It's moth riddled for sure. I got it back in 1996. But the occult, they automatically associate with evil. And that's simply a false equivalence. That is not the meaning of the occult. Now, I get it. There's many who have made that connection. That is entirely understandable, but that is not its meaning. Occult simply means something that is hidden. That's all it means. It has nothing to do with Satan, devils, evil, none of that. That is the modern dogma stamped upon that concept. And the other interesting real assumption that these gentlemen seem to be making is if you have certain practices in your religion, or if you're irreligious, but you know, they're hinting here, I believe, and this is my interpretation, I might be wrong, but I think they're hinting that witchcraft and evil things, shamanism, anything not Christianity is evil from their point of view. And therefore it's occult. And therefore, because you're practicing evil, the UFOs are going to show up and they're going to terrify you. That is entirely an assumption. Because Chris Bledsoe is as nice and gentlemanly and as Christian a man as you can find, full of love, and they occur to him all the time, and he is filled with love. And these gentlemen would say, see, he's deceived. But how do they know they aren't the ones deceived? Because we have Jesus. This assumption can be quite dangerous. And again, this is just from my point of view. They're definitely wrong about the occult. And then they pick on other countries that are having supposedly more UFO sightings than not. And it's because those countries are evil. They are not yet Christian. Well, that's a mighty freight train of assumption that you have no evidence for at all. That is simply them wanting to label something in order to dismiss it, to reassure their own Christian congregations, all is well if you do it our way. That's what I say, this overconfidence in the face of uncertainty. I get it. This knee-jerk type of reaction in the long run is not going to serve to prepare for the shock when it really does become reality. I suspect it will. And I know that I have friends, dear friends, good friends, who communicate with me right now who don't believe any of it's real. And that's okay too. That's all good. And so they're thinking that this is a complete waste of time and all. It's not really, because it's an exercise in intellectual abilities and enhancing our understandings for broadening ourselves to studying interdimensionality, spirituality. We're going to study our oceans more. We're certainly going to study our cosmos more. For me, from this angle, at this point in time, with this UFO UAP phenomenon and all of our vast uncertainty and ignorance, there are so many opportunities to learn so much more about the cosmos, which is our home writ large. Because quite frankly, we are stardust. We are the cosmos. The same atoms that inhabit our bodies, our eyeballs, our vocal cords, our brains, our fingernails, our arms, those same atoms are out there trillions of light years away from us in the cosmos. So we know that the universe is intelligent. Here we are. This part of the universe has developed into brains that can think, and I have a mind, and I'm able to utilize it. And I can think rational thoughts. I can think irrational thoughts. I can explore evidences, etc. I can see things physically with my eyes. I can see this book with the cosmos, some kind of a galaxy above two people's heads, etc. Good book, by the way, Dialogues with Scientists and Sages, The Search for Unity. Renee Weber. Her article in this book, pretty darn sensational. So what these types of assumptions appear to me to be doing is not expanding our ability to continue moving forward with light and knowledge, but it shuts down dialogue. It creates fear, and it narrows us. And that's why I personally don't accept that point of view. So thanks for watching my BYP Responds. I just wanted to share some of my ideas on the various religious themes with Christianity, in this instance with the UFOs, and some of the ideas. And I realized none of this was from an official sponsored church, either the Baptists, the Catholics, the Lutherans, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Seventh-day Adventists. I get that. These are individuals on YouTube, and all of us have a right to think what we want. I absolutely agree with that, fundamentally so. And we ought to encourage one another to discourse, talk about it, etc. But like I've said before, and I will reiterate this because for me, this is the point, not to convince and convert, but to come to an understanding and wisdom. From my perspective, that holds more value. I really do sincerely believe that with all my heart. We have enough smarts. What we need now more is wisdom on how to proceed forward with and in this scary uncertainty. And we do that through our dialogue and discourse and the dialectic, the give and take of opinions, evidences, concepts. From my point of view, this is the way forward, and I'm happy to contribute to that dialogue and perhaps get some of you moving into the dialogue as well. So thanks for watching my Backyard Professor Responds. I will return with much more just as soon as I can. In the meantime, remember, every one of you, without question, you really are awesome because you're a part of this magnificent universe. You're the thinking part. You're the seeing part, the speaking part, the part that has a heart. And quite frankly, that's invaluable. I like being that part. But then again, that's just my point of view. See you soon.